this party bus rolling. We're going to get this live started. So welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. As I said, my name is Suzanne Hart. And our topic today is the untold truth about influence and the secret to creating it. The untold truth about influence and the secret to creating it. This is for you if you have a desire to live life with passion and on purpose. This is for you if you are a leader and you want to inspire, have influence, and definitely have impact. So what is Unstoppable Mindset? Every week we bring you breakthrough strategies designed to help you reset your thinking. Our commitment is to equip you with the skills and the mindset to navigate change so you can powerfully respond when faced with challenge and uncertainty, right? We want you to be powerfully unstoppable. This is all about creating and developing an unstoppable mindset. All right, so let me introduce the beautiful woman sitting beside me this evening. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Now I'm going to glance down on my cheat sheet because there's quite a bit and I don't want to miss anything. So first of all, she's an author and she's a speaker. She is the creator of the Life Success Board System. This is for you if you're up to massive things and casting a massive vision. You want to check out this system. She is the creator of the Turn Passion into Profit, and she's the founder of I Am the Boss Conference. Doesn't that sound good? I Am the Boss Conference, and this woman is a boss lady. She's a global executive coach, and she is a mother of 2 beautiful girls. Her pride and joy, I am learning. And I think what I love about this woman from the moment I met her is her certainty. You know when you meet someone and there's just a certainty about them, and she has influence and she has impact. So when I talked about this conversation and when I looked at doing this conversation, I said, you know what, I'd love to see if I can get this beautiful sister to come out. Please help me welcome Carolyn Dickinson. Hey, hon.
Hi, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I'm so happy to be here about this amazing conversation. It's going to be so much fun.
You know, this is one of those conversations that it's elusive.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like people are like, I want to have influence. I want to have impact, but I don't know. It's one of those things that, particularly as an entrepreneur, is how do you create it? How do you get it? And so I thought of you because we have similar yet different backgrounds. Yeah. But there's one thing about our background that qualifies each of us for this conversation.
Yes, there is.
We are both coming from the direct sales network marketing arena. Yes. And you, as a listener, might be wondering, why is that so important? Well, networkers, I think, are the masters of learning how to create influence. So I'm going to tease you guys with that. But before we jump in, I'm going to give Carolyn a little bit of time to tell us just a little bit more about herself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited about this topic. It's one of my favorite topics. But a little more about me. So you kind of touched on a few things, and the I Am the Boss Conference was something I did for 5 years. I'm no longer doing it, but it was definitely something that really kind of touched my heart. As you said, I was in the direct marketing industry for years. And I realized that there's a lot of women out there at the time that would be out of corporate, they would be at home with their kids and then want to go back out to work and feel like they had to go get a new education to get there. And that they wouldn't be able to do what they wanted to do, that they would have to fit back into this pigeonhole that existed when they first left. And I realized that's not the truth, because you can still go out and do stuff. You can actually design your own job structure a lot of times, and also your own business. And I was in the direct marketing industry and teaching women how to do that, how to create their foundation, how to create the ability to choose whether they wanted to go back to work or not. And it then expanded into more, where the I Am the Boss Conference was born, because really it was the opportunity to bring extremely successful women. All my speakers were making $1 million and up. From a business they started in their basement, and one of them ended up being a direct marketing company that she developed. And it was a tea company, but it was just really bringing inspirational stories to the stage for women and men. Men were always welcome. So if there's any guys on this conversation, please know we love you as well. And so it really was a conversation about not just the things that went well, but the things that didn't go well. And I always told my speakers, I don't want you coming with a perfect conversation. I want you to talk about stuff that didn't go well, how you overcame it, how you dealt with your challenges, how you became the leader you are today. Because all the nice stuff is fantastic, but it's not going to drive anyone in this audience to want to start a business, because they need to be aware of the character building experiences you're going to have. And they need to also know how to get out of them, and that there is, another side to it once you get to a certain point, and once you develop certain things in a way that works, depending on what your industry is. But really, it's building, and building takes time. It's like, if you don't put a good foundation in a house, it's going to fall down. If you don't put a good foundation in your business, it's not going to work properly, and it's going to fall apart. And the same thing goes with anything. So it gave me the opportunity to build that. And then I realized, okay, so now that we're doing the conference and these people have all these great ideas, what next? And that's when I started coaching. And I've been coaching probably most of my life without the title coach.
Gotcha.
But supporting people in developing their own business, developing their own life, developing in the way they wanted to run things, how to run a successful business. And so in doing that, I realized, you know what? I love inspiring people, but I love coaching them and showing them how things don't need to be as difficult. Because I went through ups and downs and starting my business. I left corporate, came into business, had no idea what the heck I was doing, had to figure it all out on my own. And I said, it doesn't need to be this hard. So I wanted to provide an arena for people to realize that, no, put these systems in, structures. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you can definitely make it a lot easier than we do, especially if I'm willing to share my knowledge with you and the ups and downs I've had and how to get past them. And, with my own mentors and my own coach, I bring from their experience into what I do and really support people to have the kind of success they're looking for. And here's the key thing. Not everybody's looking for the same type of success. That's the interesting part about it. Not everybody wants to make $1 million. Other people want to make multiple millions. So it really is working with the individual that I'm working with at the time and providing them with what they need. And I don't know about you as a coach, but Suzanne, I've had people say to me, well, what platform are you using? Or what's your core competency that you've studied that you're bringing into your coaching? I'm like, what?
Hard knocks.
I said, right. I've built businesses. I've been in corporate. I've done all these different things. I'm bringing my experience, my knowledge. Well, do you provide someone else's courses? I go, no, I provide my own. They go, you have your own? I'm like, yeah. I took from what my clients needed and developed courses around that. Isn't that how you develop courses? A lot of these coaches take other people's courses, and instead of turning it into what they do and how they do it, they're literally copying their stuff with their permission. But why would you sell someone else's stuff? And so it's very confusing for people on how to do that. And I think it's important that anything you do in business needs to come from you, what it is you're building, what you're creating. And that's what I teach my clients to do. I really teach them to understand what it takes to build a business so that at some point they're going to say, Carolyn, I don't need you as a coach anymore. I'm okay with that. But I want to make sure they have a really solid foundation, that they understand what they need to do so that when these issues arise again, they have a solution and they don't have to depend on somebody for the rest of their lives to have success. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And we're so in alignment. And this is actually one of the reasons you were the person I reached out to when I wanted to talk about influence. And because, as I said, influence is elusive.
It is.
But it comes from Inside. It doesn't come from outside. And I believe it comes from hard knocks. It comes from that fall down 7 times, get up 8, 9, 10.
Right.
So I want to start with network marketing, because I think for me, that's when I first grasped this thing called influence. And I don't know about you, but when I went into network marketing, I transitioned and I said, I got this. I got the skills. I can lead a team. I can inspire. I had my shopping list of things that I could do. And I thought, we got this. And
right?
In both feet, got it, honey. And and my first year, I describe it as I was still sitting in my starting blocks and my colleagues lapped me. It was embarrassing.
Yep.
And they I know they recruited me because they thought she gonna rock this. Suzanne rocked nothing.
Yeah.
So now the most frustrating thing is knowing that you've got the goods, but the goods aren't working. And so for me, what I realized is when you have a volunteer army, which is what you get in network marketing, you got no paycheck to offer them. You have no guarantee to offer them. You have just hard work, roll your sleeves up to offer them.
That's right. Roll your sleeves up.
Where does influence come from? That was my question. Now I'll tell you what I learned, but I want to know what was the thing that got you thinking about influence for yourself? What was the situation?
Interestingly enough, I didn't even know I had influence. I was going about doing my business. And like you, when I first started out in the direct marketing industry, I had not a clue what I was doing. However, I learned quickly. And coming from corporate to go into entrepreneurship, whatever area you started in, it's very different. And that's why sometimes people fail, because you come from having a team and working a team, but there's a guaranteed, as you said, paycheck. So it's a different situation, right? Mm-hmm. And how you work that, how you evolve that. The same thing with the I'm the Boss conference. I used to run trade shows internationally across North America, and basically had a team. I had people that did stuff. So running an event is like, and a lot of work, and trying to do it yourself with a couple volunteers is crazy. So going into the direct marketing industry from the corporate world, it was like, okay, I got this. I can do it. It's not as easy as you think it is.
No.
But here's what I did. And this is something that, I was taught a long time ago. If you want people to follow you, be willing to do the work. And it's not about, saying, oh, I'm going to bring these people in and teach them. No. And it was funny because I'd forgotten about that. And then in the direct marketing industry, one of the leaders said it and it stuck in my head. I went, oh my God, that's it. And it was really all about, if you want people to follow you, if you want to have influence on people, then you have to do the work yourself. If you do the work, you'll be recognized. If you don't do the work, you won't be, because you can't. It's like my dad used to say, my dad almost became a priest. He said, you have to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
If you're going to preach to people to do A, B, and C, you better be doing A, B, and C yourself. You better be that person that's out there doing the work. And so when we did events, we would say, okay, we're going to do this event, bring guests. Well, guess what? As a leader, you need to bring guests as well.
Yes.
Right. So whatever you ask your group to do, you got to be willing to do yourself. And that's why a lot of leaders fail. I know we're going to get into that conversation, so I won't go too far there. But that's why a lot of people fail in a leadership position, because, it's one thing to sit and bark orders out or preach to someone and tell them what to do. But if you're not willing to do the same work, what level of respect are they going to have for you? Because it's important not only to honor what you do, but honor what other people do, and realize that if they're stuck, you need to, as you said, roll up your sleeves, get in there, help them figure out the problem, because you're part of a team. Whether you're the leader or not, you're part of a team. Your job as a leader is to get their ideas, help them understand how to integrate them, how to work together, how to be this well-organized machinery that can communicate and build the foundation, whether it's a business, whatever it is, that you have structure and system in place. And, I look at it, and this sounds weird, but because I also have a background working with children, this is how I put it sometimes to people. Think of talking to a child, right? If you tell a child what's expected of them, they're cool. They'll go do it. But you can't get mad at a child if you haven't completely explained to them what your expectations are. Well, guess what? If you have a team, they're not children, but you still have to identify what your expectations are.
All right.
And so I was on stage one day, full on pregnant with my first child, like out to here. And I was on stage talking about what I did, what I was doing, even during my pregnancy, all the kinds of things that I was creating and things that they could do, giving them ideas, teaching them about product, blah, 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 blah. This guy comes up to the stage to me. He says to me, Carolyn, you changed my life. And I went, what? He goes, you changed my life. He goes, I have been mucking around. He goes, I'm looking at you full on pregnant, all the stuff that you're doing. And I'm here young with no children. He's a guy. I have no children, no wife, no responsibilities. What the heck is my problem? He goes, I have zero excuses. Thank you so much for pointing that out. More like I didn't do it directly, but in the situation, he goes, from this point on, my business will grow. And it's because of you. And I went, whoa, like I was like,
That's it. That's influence right there.
right? And so that's when I started to realize that what I had to say and I was sharing was real. It was my stuff. It was just my experience. It was my interpretation of what I was dealing with, was changing how people looked at doing business, including to the point where after my daughter was born, she was colic for 10 months. And so lack of sleep, lack of anything, and I still had a business to run. I put her in a pouch, bought a pair of running shoes, and walked around the house and made my calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I told that story, everybody was like, what? And it was funny because I met people who I think, as you said, we don't always know, that I thought, oh my God, these women are leaders and they're coming to hear me speak. And I'm like, what are they going to learn from me? And they turned around and this one lady, Teresa, says to me, we all think you're absolutely incredible as superwoman, and we just don't understand how you do everything that you do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? You do? I was shocked. So it wasn't like I was looking for it or expecting it, but that's how I found out I had it.
That is so good. And I want to talk to everyone listening for a moment because sometimes you don't know that you have it. And often we all don't know what we have it. And so this was where, for me, what the conversation that was running in my head when I first started was that I equated influence with success.
Yes.
Right. And oftentimes we do.
Yeah.
And so the running in the background of my head was, I want people to follow me, but I haven't created any success yet. I want people to follow me, but I haven't created any money yet. I want people to follow me. And I didn't know, although that was running, it was energetically all over me.
Yep.
The minute I gave that up and I decided, I used to call myself the North Star. I'd be everywhere. There wasn't a training I wasn't at. There wasn't a meeting I wasn't at. And I also decided I was going to act as if. So I was going to act as if I had a massive team. And I was going to be the example. And this is when I learned what influence was. Influence is not about telling people what to do.
No.
It's about showing up as the bright light and doing the do. So for me, when I got it, I said, influence is when you cast a vision and you behave as if that vision is already yours.
Yep.
And so when my business started to rock, and I went from 0 to 6 figures overnight when I got this, it felt like. It took me a minute to get it, mind you.
Yeah, well, hey, you gotta learn, right?
Right? It was like things started to move. Why? Because people saw me, and this is a key thing, as you just said, they were inspired and moved by who I was being.
That's right.
And in that moment, when people were inspired and moved by who I was being, I had influence.
That's right.
And so what I want everyone to take away is influence must occur before money flows. Influence must occur before you get sticky to success. Influence must occur. But what influence is when you show up like the bright light, knowing that you have a vision in your mind, you line yourself up with that vision and you do the do in the absence of success, in the absence of evidence. And what begins to happen is the more you step into it, the more belief you build in yourself.
100%.
And the more believable you become to other people. And before you ever get close to your goal, you will become, I call it sticky. You will become sticky because you're inspiring.
Yep.
People will start going, I don't know where she's going, but I'm
going with her.
Right? I don't know where she's going, but I'm going too. I don't know how she's going to get there, but we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it starts with who you're being.
100%.
So
if I can just throw in an example quickly here, one of my clients, amazing young woman, I was working with her. This is actually when I first started out. And it's interesting because she worked for this company and she was also in the direct marketing industry, but it was a different company. So she wanted to become part of the corporate team. And when I first started working with her, she was doing okay. So we talked about, who to work, who to focus your time, all the things that you do as a direct marketer, what to change. We changed her image. We changed everything. I said, look, if you're going to sell this, you need to represent this. Like we just went through and tore it all apart and built it back up again. So the next thing was, well, I want to work for corporate. I said, great, do the work. Right? I just kept telling them, do the work. Because here's the deal. If you don't show them why they should talk to you, they're not going to talk to you. Get your numbers up, build your team, start your training. Here's what we're going to do. We set it all up. So it was ready to go. I said, you have to do the work. Within 6 months, when she started doing the work, it took her a while to finally, like you said, catch on. Like 4 months later, she all of a sudden, it clicked. Somehow it clicked. And she started doing the work. And within 6 months, corporate contacted her and offered her a full-time job.
And I want to talk about doing the work for a minute. I want to break doing the work down so that everybody, really grabs it. And I want to say welcome to Ken and Yetta. I see you guys out there. Welcome to Linder. Hi, Linder. How are you? It's been a minute. I want to say welcome to Stacy. Hey, Stacy, and thank you for showing up. Because, girl, I know you got stuff going on in your area of the world. Tax season. Thank you. So I want to talk about creating influence, and I want to break down do the work as you're putting it. And I know for myself, when I finally got this, I used to say to my people that I was partnering with and collaborating with was, rather than talk about our products or service and our company, become it.
Yeah.
Become it.
Yeah. 100%.
And I would say the process of becoming it will inspire people.
Yeah.
And so I remember, and I was in a health and wellness company, and I set out a challenge, and people on my team transformed like mind-boggling. Like we had people pictures and transformation. And what began to happen was I just saw this growth start to happen, because one was they became believable to themselves.
That's right.
But they're doing the work became, so rather than talk about the product, they became a product of the product.
Exactly.
Rather than talk about the business, they became a product of the business.
That's right.
And it really is, because we think influence has to live in this place called convincing people. That's
actually completely the opposite.
Right. That's when it's coercion.
It is.
And a man convinced against his will is still of the same opinion still. They may say yes, but they're going to run someday because they got to get out of the space.
Right.
However, someone who's inspired by who you're being because they watch you do the work is going to say, I want to know more about this. I want to know how this is happening. And this is the thing, I don't influence everybody. You don't influence everybody. And I want everyone to get this.
No.
I influence the people who are looking for me.
That's right.
By the evidence they see on me when as I'm doing the work.
Yep. And hey, there's people that don't even like us. Let's be honest. Let's be real. There are people who don't like me. I'm okay with that. You're not supposed to be liked by everybody. You're not supposed to influence everybody, as you said, Susan. It really is about being who you need to be to attract the right people to you. You're not supposed to work with everybody. You're not going to work with everybody. You're going to work with the right people that will fit. One of my clients, she said, I talked to about 5 or 6 coaches before I talked to you, and I realized you were it. Mm-hmm. You were the one I needed to work with. I could feel it in our conversation, right? So it's not meant to be everything for everybody. And your influence, when you can truly be who you are.
Underline that. Please put that in the comments section. Because you were
that. Exactly. And own it. My biggest challenge was coming from corporate. And I have a coach. My coach tells me all the time, Carolyn, stop talking corporate. You're perfect at corporate, but you also have other clients. And she goes, why can't you talk when you get like I'm doing it now? I'm talking. This is me real. It's not corporate. But when I do video, she used to say to me, you go to corporate, you got to stop that. People are like, they can feel it, right? That's not who you are. And it took a while to make that shift in having that conversation, because then another thing people worry about is, are they going to like me if I speak who I am? Are people going to like me? They're not going to like me. They're not going to like this. And you know what? We all feel it. I felt it for a moment. Yeah. And it's important to realize that you're right. People aren't going to like you for who you are, but maybe they're just not supposed to. You know, you talk about universe and you talk about whoever it is you choose to talk to. Here's the deal. You show them who you are. You show them the kind of people you want to work with, that you're willing to work with. And I promise you, they'll show up.
Absolutely.
Because every time I own my stuff and I'm out there and I'm who I need to be, I'm a straightforward girl. My clients will tell you straight up, I'll be nice, but I'm also going to call you on your stuff, whether you like it or not. And I even tell my clients, some days you're not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like me all the time, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because I see you for who you are if I choose to work with you. And I turn people down. So if I choose to take you on, it's because I see who you are and what you're capable of. And I know I can get you there. As long as you're willing to do the work. As long as you're willing to show up, even when you don't feel like it.
And
I will back you 200%. Right?
The boss lady. I love
That's
it.
Right. I have actually, somebody gave me a cup that says the boss.
And you said something so key that I want people to really take to heart and put this in the comment section. It is so, influence is only available to us when we choose to be ourselves. So Tria's listening, and Tria and I, we're both from the islands, and we'll joke. Oh, and so is Carolyn. She's another island gal. So we will joke is that when we get hot, the accent come out, right? So and at first when we both started in entrepreneurship, it was like, oh no, that can't come out. They won't like me. The reality is when I get hot, it comes out. When I get hot, when I get excited, things are sad.
That's right.
And I remember, when for me it was the person who taught me to speak. He'd say, I want you to be your authentic self on stage. And I'd be like, oh gosh, no, people won't like my authentic self. That was when magic happened.
That's right.
And so the thing I want everybody to grasp is you can't be influential when you're trying to be somebody else.
You're not. Exactly.
You can't be influential when you're trying to be the best version of someone you admire, inspired to be. You can't be the best person when you're influential when you're hiding parts of yourself.
That's right.
Because people feel it on you.
Yeah.
Influence lives when you and I have the courage. The word is courage.
It is.
To show up as our authentic self.
Yeah.
Now,
let's clarify that. Okay. I'd like to clarify that because I've seen some people on Facebook who decide to be authentic. I want to be very clear on this, and I'm just gonna assume, I don't know who's here, so I'm gonna be straight up about it. Here's the authentic me. Don't get on and talk about authentic because you're gonna bawl your eyes out because you want everybody to know that you've had a terrible day or some horrible thing happened in your life. Fine, you want to share it, I get it. But here's what I tell my clients. You know what? Stuff happens to everybody. But if I'm going to hire you, I don't want to know that it's happening to you. I want to know how you handled it. I want you to have a conversation with me. And I, here's the thing. And the reason I even picked my coach was because she told her story. She wasn't crying about it or anything. And it doesn't mean that you don't get emotional sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about those people that get on a Facebook page. And I saw this coach and she was saying, I'm going to be my authentic self. And she's in her sweatshirt, no makeup on, going, I'm like, I'm sorry, but my confidence just went out of you. I wouldn't hire you. And I apologize. If I offend anyone today, I apologize. But it's the truth. And you need to hear it because here's the deal. You have to show up as if you've got it, right? Does it mean that you're going to have character? I tell my clients sometimes, I've had a character building day, but I'm here for you. So let's get moving, right? Because my job and what you're paying me for is to be 200% when I'm with you. What I do in between that and after that's up to me. And if I can't be that 200%, I rearrange the call. But this authentic thing means being who you are as a person, a genuine person, right? I remember in the direct marketing industry, one of the companies, the leader there kept saying to me, you need to be like my colleague, Sean. And he was from banking, very straight talk, very serious, very numbers guy. And it worked for him, but it wasn't going to work for me. I can't talk like that. I don't know how to talk like that. When I tried to talk like that, nobody would listen to me because that's not my energy. That's not who I am. That's not the person. So the thing about being, as you say, authentic, I don't come up with the accent, but I have an attitude that comes out. That's the West Indian in me. My mom used to say, you don't want to get Carolyn upset because her tongue becomes sharp as a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we do have things that come out in different ways, and body language and our energy and stuff. And that's a good thing within reason, right? Like you don't want to be flaring your arms all over the place because that's a distraction. But you want your energy to come out.
Yeah.
You want the person who you are, that authentic, genuine, I'm here to help you. And let me show you how. I want you to walk away with something that is going to take you to the next level in your business. Because I truly believe every single one of you deserves to succeed.
I wanna break down so two things, right? One of the things that I teach is storytelling. I teach storytelling intentionally for exactly what you talked about. Because as my authentic self, there's two ways to tell a story. And what Carolyn's saying is there's a story when you show up as the victim.
Yes.
And then there's a story when you show up as the hero. That's the person that took a difficult situation and turned it into an opportunity.
That's right.
And so as people who influence and inspire, victims do not inspire anybody.
No.
Right? But people who take challenging, difficult situations and find the victory in it, the beauty in it, the gift in it, the lesson in it, that's where influence and inspiration lives. And our job is to distinguish when to tell a story and how to tell a story. Yeah. Because it is when we show up totally responsible for what's going on. And for me, I do mindset because one of the things about mindset and how I figured it out was my own journey. Yep. And one of the things I realized is influence and victimhood do not go together.
They do not.
Right? Influence and mastery and choosing to be the hero in your situation, choosing to rise up is where your influence lives. Because truly, misery loves company, but it doesn't like the company that you want.
That's right.
However, overcoming, empowerment, rising over attracts company, but it attracts a totally different type of company. So I really wanted to highlight that because that's what Carolyn's talking about when she talks about the different, showing up as your authentic self, but showing up as your authentic, empowered self.
Yes.
So one of the other things I want to talk about is I want to dive in a little bit more around influence, because one of the things I've learned, and I saw it with you when I first met you, it was kind of how you showed up, how you took the stage, how you conducted yourself, all these different things. And I tell people that influence lives in this place of self-mastery. And what I mean by self-mastery is the most inspiring and influential people in my world are the people who do the things that no one else is willing to consistently do. They're the people who wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're the people who work out. They're the people who do the hard stuff. They're the people who will show up and figure it out. They're the people who will find a solution when everyone says there's none. They're the people that will say, I'll go first. I don't know. There's no path. There's no way. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. Influence, why it's so powerful, because it's the thing that you create in the messy moments.
That's right.
In the uncharted moments. Right. And for me, I always say the more I master here and the more I master me, the more influence I automatically have.
That's right.
What are your thoughts?
I agree 100%. It really is important about how you feel about yourself and what you think. That's a core starting point. And as you said, sometimes you have to work towards that, right? Like, we're not always confident in what we're doing, but as you do and take more action, and this is another thing, there's the mindset component of it. There's taking action. There's having successes, big or small. They say a salesperson is only a salesperson when they're selling. And if they're not selling, they lose sight of who they are, because that's what they do. right?
Mm.
It's not necessarily who they are, but it's what they do. And it's when it's what you do and you don't do it, sometimes you can lose sight of who you are. So what do? I coach, I speak. I've had even moments where, with COVID and everything else, you're not doing all those things. It does change you a little bit. So the more that you can stay into action in what it is that you do and love and the kind of service you're providing to others, whether it's a small thing, a big thing, keep doing it. Like even what we're doing, being on a conversation where people are listening. So that allows us to practice as well, speaking about what we do, who we are, sharing information, giving valuable tips. That in itself keeps you in action and excited and motivated to keep moving forward, because it can be very challenging at times, especially, self-isolating, staying at home. I've had clients that are ready to give up, and I've got to, pull them off the ledge and say, no, we got this. We just have to pivot. Let's do it this way. Let's look at this. You've got this opportunity. Let's jump on board here. We'll put this aside for now. Let's focus. So it's really about kind of finding that way. And, it's interesting because the reason people stay with you or want to continue to work with you is because they see you growing. And that's what I was told by one of my clients. And, I always say, do you want to continue working after our period is up? Why wouldn't I? You keep growing, you keep improving and mastering what you're doing. I keep learning new things. Why would I go anywhere else? And again, that was a shocking conversation for me as well, because again, I just do what I do. I didn't realize the amount of power it had. So I think just to bring it down, what Susan's saying and why I agree 100% on it is, be the expert at what you do. I've had people say to me, I'm not an expert. I go, no, you don't need to know everything to be an expert. You need to know enough that you could help someone else who doesn't know it get there. And as long as you keep learning, keep it growing yourself and your knowledge, your expertise will continue to grow as well. And that will be seen as powerful.
Okay, that was like a nugget right there. That
Yes.
was right. And what's beautiful about what you're saying is, for me, the one thing so that I'm always in this place of cultivating influence is I tell myself that every day I must inspire me.
Yes. That's
right?
Great. I love that.
So the first person Suzanne must inspire is me. And I get inspired by, and I remind myself, it doesn't take a lot. Sometimes it's doing the stuff I committed to doing.
Yes.
However, influence also lives, and how I inspire myself is am I willing to do the work that no one sees?
Yeah.
Because it shows up on me and in me when people actually see me. So anyone who works with Suzanne, I will tell them read 30 minutes every day.
Yeah.
Like I read 30 minutes every day, and 3 to 4 books, audios a month. Work out, move your body every day. Journal and write every day. Do a self-discovery every day. Set a goal that moves you forward every day, because influence lives in our transformation.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't. The best way to lose your influence is to stay in the same place way too long. Because this is the thing. No one cares really about where you've been.
No.
They don't care about how much success you've had. They are interested, what inspires people is where you're going and who will you be required to become to get there.
That's right. And
so for me, I realized that my influence is in my transformation. It is in the becoming and doing the becoming somewhat publicly, right? Yeah. And I'm not talking about shouting my accolades from the rooftop. It's about showing up as a constant form of transformation. That's where influence lives.
It does.
So it's inspiring yourself to read, learn, grow, challenge, stretch, go beyond, get a coach, get a mentor, have them push you, do the tough stuff, look and examine the stuff that you otherwise don't want to know about yourself. Journal about it, grow about it, yeah. Right? I see Yetta's on, and Yetta's my girl, and we're always like, oh, this is what I learned about myself. I looked at this week. Oh my goodness. And but I have so much awe and respect for her, because it's always that, what's the next? Like, what do I, it's the diving into who am I, who am I, and how can I become more, better, bolder.
Yep, 100%. It is really about identifying and being able to acknowledge. See, the only way to solve a challenge or to work through a challenge is to acknowledge it exists. If you don't acknowledge it exists, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Listen, my daughter will tell you straight up, and I know it. I like things a certain way. I'm an atypical person, and I can be pretty bossy about it. And she says, Mom, you know, it's always your way. And I said, yeah, you're right. It is. I can be honest. And I've worked towards adjusting that. I know it's something I have to work on, especially at home, to give my kids the freedom. And I said, okay, well, here's the deal. I'll work towards this. You work towards that. Yeah. And so it's funny because I always acknowledge them. Oh, by the way, good for you for doing that. I really appreciate that you remembered what we talked about and you're actually putting it into good use. So doesn't my older daughter the other day acknowledge me for, Mom, I'm really glad you held your tongue on that one. That was really impressive. That must have been so hard for you. And it was. Oh my God. But see, here's the thing is I'm talking about a home situation, but guess what? Whatever you do in one place, you will do in every place.
Yeah.
So I recognize that sometimes I have to be careful when I'm talking to my clients because they're paying me. And yes, they're paying me to be honest with them, but I have to understand each person I'm talking to. Some people I can be a little harder with, and other people I can't because they can't handle it. And I got to work them up towards that. And that's building trust with them. So a big part of this is because I know who I am and how I do things, and I know what can trigger me. Another thing I tell people too, when you get an email that triggers you, do not respond. Walk away. Give it some time, come back, because 9 out of 10 times, whatever you read was your own stuff that you got triggered about. Has nothing to do with what that person was saying. And you responding in that moment of the energy that you had is going to come out in the way you say it. We think it only comes out how we feel when we're in person. It comes up in how you write. It comes out in how you like your physical appearance. Everything shows up with how you're feeling on the inside. So it's taking that moment to go, wait, was my response to this or that energy that just flew upside my body up into my head and made me feel like I turned 50 shades of red because I was responsive to it? Does that have to do with how I'm feeling about things or actually what they said?
And oftentimes it's they triggered in you.
100%. And so it's like a little trick that anything that triggers you, walk away first and have that. I have this little I'm like this, I'm talking about years, but like I'm so much better at it now. If anything even gives me a slight trigger, I wait. I walk away, I come back, and then I call the person, forget the email. I call them, hey, listen, you kind of sounded upset in your email. Do you want to talk about that? The response I get is 10 times better. So if you're feeling it, regardless if it's writing or as Suzanne said, in person, it is going to come out of you. I'm sorry, unless you're a Navy SEAL, and I say that because I've met them and trained not to show zero emotion or how you feel, it will come out.
It will. It
always does. Whether it's your body language, the way you stand, the look on your face, the tone of your voice, the words you choose, it will be evident. And it will push people away from you and affect your ability to influence. Even though you're a powerful person and have so much to share and so much value, people will walk away from it.
So you know, as you're saying that, what you're leaving us with is influence lives in our courage to be authentic.
Yes. And
authentic is not an authentic victim. It's an authentic, empowered person. That's right. And it is, and you know what is really interesting about this thing about influence, it's all inner work.
Yeah.
Right? It is to know thyself.
Yes, it is.
It is a level of self-awareness so that you can respond rather than react. It is to know, it is to speak empowerment into the world. It's all those different things, but influence lives in this inner work. And the inner work, you know, I always say the leader must show up on the inside before they show up on the outside. The leader must show up before the success. The leader must show up before all these things. I must influence me before I influence someone else. So the thing, when I say the first person I'm required to inspire every day is Suzanne, is when I'm being a source of inspiration to myself, I know I can inspire somebody.
That's right.
It is this inner work. Carolyn, I'm sure there's people wondering, this woman dynamic.
Thank you.
They're like, she dynamic.
I'm passionate. I love what I do. And I love people being able to reach their potential if they want it. And I remember what I went through, and that's a whole other story and another conversation of how hard I made it for myself and how hard it was for me. And I just sat back and went, it doesn't need to be this hard.
Girl,
and we do it to ourselves. And I just wanted to be able to teach people how not to do that, and then to reach the kind of success they are looking for. Not that I'm looking for, that they are looking for.
So how can someone reach out and connect with you if they're like, I got to check out this woman a little bit more?
Okay, I'd like that. You can reach me at, just check out my website, www.carolyndickinson.com. And if you decide, I'm not sure all the people that are on here, but if you decide, you know, if you're not already working with Susan and you're looking for someone and you want to have a conversation with me, I'm happy to do that. You can, from my website, book a complimentary discovery session. Happy to have a conversation, even if afterwards you decide you don't want to work with me, that's fine too. I'm not a pressure kind of person. I'm just a lot like Suzanne in that sense. It has to be a good fit. If you're not a good fit, I might send you somewhere else too. So it's really about finding the right people that you want to work with, as well as the right person that is going to be able to drive you even on those character building days. And on those days where you don't feel like doing anything, that can help inspire you, encourage you, push you, and bring you to where you want to go and get there. And it's a challenge. It is. I have a full-time coach as well, because I can't do it all myself and I don't have all the answers. I'm really good at what I do with other people. But when it comes to myself, I probably have some of the same similar challenges some people have, right?
It's always easy when you're on the outside looking in, I tell you.
It is. It's so much easier.
Mr. Ken Decker says, do the work. You must lead from the front. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Linder is like, I am happy to be part of this discussion. Sharia is saying, was having this conversation today. Woo! We are not called to serve everyone. Hashtag shine. Courageously so, your divine client can find you. So be courageous and be your authentic self, so your divine clients can find you. Yetta is, even when it ouches, really.
Yes. And there's ouches.
Yeah, still grow, learn, lean in to the next version of me. Yes, ma'am, Yetta.
Beautiful. And you know, it's funny because whenever I have character building situations, there's times I sit back and go, oh, that's going to be a good story to share on stage one day.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. And you know, it's interesting because I always remind myself, the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the breakthrough, and the more the transformation and the more influence I gain. And so this is the one thing I want to leave everyone with is influence grows as we grow. Influence expands as we expand. Influence touches more people the more we do our inner work. It's almost like, you know, I always close with know you're special.
Yeah.
You know you're brilliant. Know you're special, right? And because the person who can influence me is for me.
That's right.
And there's someone out there that each and every person listening is designed to influence and inspire.
That's right.
And so the reason I remind everyone to know you're brilliant, know you're special, and that the world is waiting for your unique gift is because your influence is unique to you.
It is.
Because it is of you.
It is.
And that's how we touch and inspire the world. And we are in a time where the world needs authentic, influential people to touch, move, and inspire.
That's right. And don't worry that there's other people out there doing the same thing, because no one's going to do it like you. And I used to worry about that. And I realized, you know, I went to Tony Robbins and realized, oh my God, I'm saying the same thing to my clients. I must be doing something right. And then I went to another renowned speaker, Bob Proctor. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing. That's the same thing I say to my clients. Oh my God. So I must be doing something right. And I started to realize, Carolyn, you're doing what everybody else is doing, but you're doing it the way you do it. and you're
Yeah.
going to attract the people that want to work with you, right? And that
Mm.
want to have what you have to offer. And that's the day I recognized that, the day I owned that, was the day I started turning clients down that didn't fit with me. And when you empower that and people realize that you're not going to force them to do something, it's absolutely incredible the respect and response you get from them, because so many people do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't work with me, your business is going to fail. You're going to not have success, and you're making the biggest. No, honey, if we're not meant to be, you go on, be free. I send you with love. Find the right person for you. And if you change your mind, I'm here. Come back.
And it's interesting because oftentimes when I'm not a fit, I often know who the fit is.
Yes. And I like you refer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Everyone, I have been sitting down with the powerful and dynamic Carolyn Dickinson. This was an interview I have been, lining up schedules and doing all that stuff. So I'm so excited.
Thank you.
That we finally got to do this. Hopefully it won't take us another 3 years.
No, I think we need to do another one next month. That's it. We need to talk about something else. Let's talk about communication.
All right.
Leadership. We'll just find a conversation.
I love it. I love it. So I will be back here next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Miss Natasha Hampton will be back. That's another powerhouse, dynamic woman. We are going to be back in the inclusive leadership conversation. We are talking about power and privilege.
Nice.
It's going to be a fun one. So you definitely want to tune in 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, please know you're brilliant. Please know you're special. And the world is waiting for you to put your unique gift, into the marketplace. Blessings, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care.